Hey guys, Dantics here. Zero Company is a turn-based tactics Star Wars game coming August the 27th, made by Bit Reactor, which contains veterans from Firaxis Games, who, as you may know, are the original Xcom developers. So the inspiration here is obvious. I just can't believe they haven't done this merger sooner. Zero Company, aka Xcom, is set during the backdrop of the Clone Wars, but will focus on the war beneath the war, uniting against a galaxy-wide threat, a shadow plague that, if left unchecked, will consume everything in its path. So in this video, I'll be going through everything we know about Star Wars Zero Company, including the narrative, the classes, combat, the macro and micro choices, romance, characters, weapons, skills, and much more. So let's get right into it. Before starting on Zero Company, the devs decided upon 4 pillars that would guide decisions throughout development of the game. The first is they should put Star Wars first. It sounds simple, but they really wanted to make sure this felt like a Star Wars game and the story fit within the universe. This story is therefore canonical to the Star Wars greater universe. The narrative director worked on Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, so I have confidence that the scope of the story will catch a lot of people expecting a simple XCOM game off guard. They're also working with Gordy Hab, the composer responsible for Star Wars The Old Republic, Jedi Survivor, Fallen Order, Battlefront 1 and 2, and Squadrons. This guy knows Star Wars, and his addition will deliver a cinematic feel to the tactics genre, which is another one of the devs' pillars of development. Make the game cinematic and approachable, that the depth of game shouldn't cost you elegance in how the game is presented. Depth and immersion are not mutually exclusive things, so you'll notice in gameplay they move the camera around to accentuate how they want you to feel as a player, and in turn, the game feels very Star Wars even though it is a turn-based tactics game. The third pillar is meaningful decisions, aiming to have many that will really make you sweat. You'll be making a custom main character, Hawks, who is a disgraced former Republic officer who now leads Zero Company, which is a squad specializing in high-risk tactical missions. Hawks can be made male or female, as well as a range of races from human, Twi'lek, Zabrak, and more. You can also highly customize their class. How you command Hawks in your squad will have pivotal consequences in the game. As we know, there will be permanent consequences in gameplay, as in losing squad mates, but narratively there will be tense choices as well. The operators under Hawks' command are a ragtag bunch of heroes, outlaws, and exiles from all walks of the universe. You unite to combat a shadow force that no conventional army is equipped to counter. The devs' last pillar is strategy and combat, where your gameplay choices can deliver on both the tactical and strategic layers. It's not something players experience as separate halves, it's something woven together through the tapestry of gameplay and narrative. From what I've seen, the devs must feel like they nailed it, as they're personally suggesting that the gameplay, pacing, narrative, and sound have all come together to make something truly special. So let's talk about who accompanies you on this journey. The key to your success is finding and recruiting operators to Zero Company and commanding them in missions and operations. During the story, you'll recruit a colourful cast of bespoke, authored characters. Let's go through them now. Trick is a clone soldier who is described as having a laconic wit that masks a haunted heart. He's been with Hawks since they both served together in the Republic military and was injured in the same disaster that cost Hawks their career. It really can't be Clone Wars without a clone soldier, but from the footage, he looks like he's a badass. Luco Bronk is a Ubarian sharpshooter who is an incendiary member, as you might suspect, as he still hasn't forgiven the Republic for invading his homeworld. But that shadowy adversary that we mentioned before is such a threat that he's compelled to join. So we'll see a Republic soldier like Trick and a Separatist soldier like Luco teaming up in a tumultuous and fragile alliance. I can't wait to see the banter. The devs say that if left unchecked, those divisions in the squad could escalate into conflict or worse. Clyde Calvaro is next, and she's an infamous Mandalorian gunslinger and one of the last surviving members of the clan Verminghoff. She joins Zero Company because she sees them as the most direct route to completing a very personal vendetta. Tal Rhea is next, and she's a Tognath Jedi Padawan. We can't have a Mandalorian on the squad without a Jedi, can we? Tal is on a quest to finish her fallen Jedi Master's final mission, so you can already see that each member will have their own reasons for joining, and it's not so black and white. She also has a familiar voice.
I've been tracking Fathom for months. She's at the center of it all.
It's Jedi Tali! So tell me, Tali fans out there, are you going to romance this one? Jay Mordant was born into the ruthless noble house Mordant of Shu Turan. I'm butchering these names, but there's just so many in a row. Jay went off-world to build her own mining citadel on Lunata, ruling it as its ore baroness until Fathom and the Infinite Coil took the planet for the Separatists. Sophisticated, witty, and relentlessly self-possessed, Jay was instrumental in convincing the Republic to hire Zero Company, and she will not rest until Lunata is hers again. At a base at least, she seems to be a sharpshooter. Cabney Cab Uppercut is a veteran cook and a former prizefighter who now works for Zero Company. The burly Falshi is known for his cybernetic arm, his namesake knockout punch, and his distinctive rhyming dialect. Cab is an original species specifically created for Star Wars Zero Company, and I foresee him starting out as the Assault specialization. Those are all the authored characters we know about so far. There seems to be a bit of Mass Effect 2 going on here with setting out into the universe and finding and building a team, but the devs say they reached a happy medium between Mass Effect 2 and Xcom. When asked if there are romances, they said you'll have to play the game and find out, heavily suggesting that there are, and I'm led to believe there can be romances with custom characters if you build bonds high enough, but I'm getting ahead of myself with that feature. We'll talk more about that soon. From the footage, it seems like you can have at least 4 in your squad during combat, but it's unclear what the maximum will be, since in XCOM games you can increase that amount with upgrades to facilities. I'll talk more about where you can get these facilities in the den later. Choosing your best squad mate for missions is essential as the stakes are so high that in some difficulty settings, permadeath and the limited ability to save are included. There's an easy mode where both those things don't exist, but come on, is it XCOM without the risk of losing your beloved squad mates? But here's the question, if you can lose squad mates, wouldn't you eventually run out? Well, no. I mentioned the game has authored operators, but you at any time are able to create custom operators. They can perform the same level of combat interactions as any of the other characters, they can build bonds, and are voiced like any of the other characters. Like XCOM, you can focus on an A team or rotate 10 or more guys to mitigate death, whatever you want really. But you begin with a baseline crew the devs call the starter kit, then you'll recruit new characters and new droids. These characters are also not set in stone mechanically. There's a lot you can do with their abilities and you can spec them out in different ways. Your authored hero is not going to be the same as mine, and how they bond with characters may make them different, so there's more flexibility than people may think. You can choose from a variety of archetypes, select their species from a range of Star Wars options like custom astromechs, Rhodesians, humans, Twi'leks, and fully customize their appearance and even outfits. You can then rename them to your liking. Before you ask, yes, you can have a squad filled with custom characters if you want, and yes, you can have a squad of all astromechs as you can see here. Though the devs said there would be ramifications in the story for rolling deep with astromechs. Most operators have one of 8 standard specializations that define their role. Every specialization includes 3 abilities, an ultimate, a standard, and a passive. These abilities are unique to each specialization. The specializations we know of that are in the game are Assault, Heavy, Sharpshooter, Scoundrel, Soldier, Gunslinger, Scout, and Medic. We also have 4 exotic specializations, Astromech, Jedi Padawan, Mandalorian Warrior, and some secret class they haven't yet revealed. I'm not sure if there's more than that, but it seems those are it. Here's what we know about these standard specializations. The Assault is a frontline fighter that excels at maneuvering in battle to score medium to close range kills against targets hiding in cover. Operators trained this way are lethal up-close opponents. The Gunslinger specializes in multi-target blaster attacks and fast strikes that allow them to spread offense across numerous targets. The Heavy is a frontline combatant, thickly armored and tough as nails. These operators specialize in survivability and soaking up enemy attacks while out in the open. The Medic excels at healing and the prevention of injuries. Medics can also boost their teammates both physically and psychologically. The Scoundrel is a wildcard, adept at taking advantage of situations without much preparation and making the most out of every opportunity in combat. The Scout is a tactical operator trained in reconnaissance tasks. Their planning and timing benefit the entire team, creating opportunities where none existed. The sharpshooter is an expert marksman that excels at long-range engagements, focused on singling out and defeating chosen enemies in battle. The soldier is a mainstay offensive unit, capable of engaging enemies at close to medium range with melee grenades, heavy blaster fire, and a powerful rocket launcher. The abilities you have are influenced by their specializations, but also other things which will be revealed when I talk about combat specifically. First, one of the most important features is the bond system. Not everyone in Zero Company sees eye to eye. Many on your squad will start the game in the negatives. The more time they spend together though, the more adversity they face together, the stronger their bonds, and mechanically, this is reflected in your team's combat strength. How does it work? Actions in combat can improve the relationship between companions on the team. As their relationships develop, they get more and more focus points to spend on leveling up their skills. I'm not sure if this replaces experience completely, but seems to be very important to the growth of your characters. The stronger their bonds, the stronger the team. Bonds can affect non-combat tasks, and narratively, bonds may determine their fate in the game. To reiterate, the bond system works with both authored characters and your custom characters, so they won't be left behind, which was actually one of my worries. As all of these characters go to battle together, they're going to unlock new combat synergies, such as, say, teamwork reaction shots. You might be playing a tense mission where one of your characters is about to permanently die, and one of your bonded astromech buddies might roll over and toss them a healing stim automatically. Another example is you may be rolling with Tal the Padawan, and she may be able to use the Force to push someone out of cover so the bonded sniper can take a shot. Now, it wouldn't be Xcom without tense strategic combat. This plays out isometrically on different worlds with different objectives, but ultimately, you're commanding a small squad of elite troops on a grid and take it in turns to play actions. Your entire squad acts first, followed by the enemy. Each squad member has 3 action points AP to spend every turn. In Zero Company, you can take your squad's turn in any order and utilize their action points in any order you see fit for maximum combo carnage. As you'll see, there's quite a lot an operator can do with their 3 AP each turn. It can get you in position to flank an enemy or get you behind cover. Here we see the long arm blaster cost 2 AP, and we know moving costs 1, so moving and shooting may be standard for a basic sharpshooter. You can attack an enemy within range and line of sight using your currently equipped weapon. The AP cost varies between weapon type, and some consume all your available AP. Your chance to hit is displayed next to a target and is dependent on several factors such as range and cover. Additional details about the attack can be found in a shot breakdown panel. You can also spend your AP to Overwatch, a standard in Xcom games. It's an action that lets your operator fire at any time during their turn if an enemy comes within range. In Zero Company, it's a little different. Overwatch is placed on an adjustable cone that triggers when an enemy moves through it or takes an action in the targeted area. Enemies hit by Overwatch while moving may have their movement interrupted. The overwatching operator can fire at a number of enemies based on the amount of AP invested. So if you invest 3 AP at a baseline, you can fire on 3 enemies. Your chance to hit varies based on the length of the Overwatch cone you place down. Using Overwatch immediately ends the operator's turn, making it an ideal final action. One tried and true strategy is to attack an enemy using a blaster, move to a better cover position, and set up Overwatch to stop the enemy from fully advancing on your position next turn. Some actions, such as calling for backup, cost no AP. Each turn, call for backup allows one random operator to select a teammate to assist with their next attack, usually by contributing their own firepower to help cut down the target. Use this action to help overcome especially hardy foes, and as a reward, you build bonds between the two that did. You can also utilize utility items, which you can equip and buy at the den before you head out on missions. Medkits, concussion grenades, and more can be helpful in a pinch, clearing groups of enemies or giving your squad the upper hand. Utilities typically cost 1 AP to use, but are genuinely powerful considering their limited nature. I'm sure we all remember how devastating a grenade-focused build can be in Xcom. You can also activate an ability which are unique to the character or their specialization. These abilities can increase your operator's combat stats, expose an enemy, execute a powerful melee attack that sends foes flying, use a rocket launcher, and much more. though that means I need to explain advantage points, denoted by ADV. As Zero Company lands hits on the enemy, you'll be building these points and can use them for powerful abilities. Examples include granting additional AP to an ally for a turn, calling in a devastating rocket strike, or temporarily increasing chance to hit for your entire squad, and taunting nearby enemies to attack a single operative. You can have a maximum of 10 advantage at any time, and advantage doesn't cost AP to use, so it can be an excellent way to get your team out of a tight situation after all your AP has been spent, or inversely, it can set up a calculated turn of destruction for your squad. Now, many have a love-hate relationship with accuracy in Xcom. Every shot fired has a chance to miss, and in Zero Company, it's no different. Depending on your weapon and skill, you could be accurate at long range or not. Though abilities and gadgets like grenades have no accuracy and will simply hit your targets. Missing a target you really needed to kill can cost you, so good players will always weigh the risk-reward of failure. One such way to mitigate risk is to utilize cover. Cover plays a key role in ensuring your operators don't end up full of blaster bolts on their first mission. Units in partial cover are more difficult to hit, and even harder to hit when in full cover, but this works both ways. Enemies in cover will also be harder to hit, so get flanking. Flanking enemies or attacking from higher ground will increase your chance to hit, and so do some weapon mods. Some forms of cover can be destroyed by incoming attacks, so don't hunker down in one location for too long, or you'll find yourself completely exposed and likely losing that operator. Inversely, look for ways of removing an enemy's cover or removing them from cover. Some ways you can do this is with explosives, force push, heavy weapons, or utilizing the environmental hazards. When an operator loses all their health, that operator is downed and suffers an injury. Downed operators can't take actions, but they can be rallied by an ally, getting them back in the action and gaining them bond. Injuries negatively impact combat stats and must be managed carefully. Accumulating 3 injuries results in a permanent death on a standard difficulty. No member of Zero Company is safe from destruction, including authored characters, although it seems that Hawks is the exception. If your character dies in a mission, it results in a failure. Like mentioned, on higher difficulties, characters simply die instead of being downed, and limited saves removes the opportunity for save scumming. Normal, though, offers the threat of losing a character without the harsh reality, and it doesn't limit your saves. You get simply 2 warnings with those 2 injuries, whereas Easy will remove the threat of permanent death completely. So in the combat you've seen, you're fighting a lot of separatist droids, but this is Star Wars, so expect a range of humanoids and creatures from all over the galaxy. You'll be specifically fighting a faction called the Coil, and over time, if you don't complete the macro part of Xcom correctly, the Coil will get more powerful, so let's explore that now. After missions, you'll return to Zero Company's base of operations, a place called the Den, which is based on the Ring of Kafrene from Rogue One. Here you'll be able to socialize and catch up with your team. You can also recruit, customize, level up, and outfit all your operators, as well as buy and sell from the black market. Throughout the game, in typical XCOM fashion, you'll be able to upgrade the Den to fit your playstyle. I'll go through the individual areas soon, even though I don't have many visual aids to help. First, the Den has this galaxy map where you can choose your strategy at the macro level. You'll choose what strategic tasks and tactical missions to go on next. There's a lot to choose from with a limited time frame, so you won't be able to take them all. They all have their own risks and rewards. 2 players playing the same game at the same time will likely be doing 2 different things. I may be infiltrating a separatist base on one planet, while someone else may be raiding a pirate outpost. You can send your operators on non-combat operations that gather intelligence and gather resources. Operations cost intel to complete and can provide immediate rewards such as credits, weapon mods, utilities, and more. Intel is gained by completing tactical missions. Here's an example of an operation: meet the Techno Union. You have a choice of 3 approaches, with the reward being unknown and the risks being none. I'm sure how you approach this will yield different results, so it's kind of like a roguelike game in this way. Some operations will require choices that could impact your bond with other squad mates, or even how the enemy evolves. I'll get to that soon. So involve your squad in combat with the tactical missions, get intel, and spend intel on the map in non-combat operations for rewards. You can even find new allies. Tactical missions, as described earlier, are ground-based combat encounters where you'll command your squad through intense turn-based combat, engaging enemy forces and completing objectives on distant planets such as Bespin, Dantooine, Lothal, Ryloth, and many more. Tie up any loose ends you may have in the den before launching a mission, as you will advance to the next cycle after completion. A cycle is a unit of time. Tactical missions can also award you with credits, weapon mods, utilities, focus points to upgrade your operators, zone influence, and more. This is an example of a combat mission. Striker Tech Resonating Strike. It's a dangerous difficulty mission that expires in one cycle. It's also a crisis mission, which means if you don't do it, something bad will happen. In this case, the coil enemies will be upgraded, granting their melee strikes 1 resonance charge. We also see on the map there is another crisis mission that's about to expire. So the player got themselves in a situation where a crisis is unavoidable. Do you want them to have more powerful melee strikes or maybe more powerful weapon attacks? I don't know what the other crisis is, but you're going to need to make a choice like that. Remember, Xcom was often choosing how to manage the chaos. To reiterate, certain tactical missions are critical to advance the story. Operations and tactical missions have a limited time frame to complete before they disappear forever. So choose wisely, because there's also an influence system. Completing operations and tactical missions will award zone influence within the respective region of the planet. Collect enough influence to unlock zone rewards such as upgrades, powerful utilities, and contacts, the latter of which can be spent to gain large amounts of influence. So that's what you can do at the galaxy map, but there are more parts of the den to explore. At the recruitment facility, you can hire custom operators for credits. Each cycle, a selection of new custom operators will be available for you to choose from. Custom operators have their own name, talent, primary specialization, weapon type, and backstory that they all come with, all of which can be further adjusted in the den after recruitment. Many of these aspects can be altered for the authored operators as well. If you don't like the current pool of operators, you can refresh your choices at will, allowing you to recruit whomever suits the needs of your company best. Though don't think that doesn't have consequence, because they'll start out with the limited amount of bond and very little that they can do. But you can create your own pool of custom operators for recruitment at this facility. But the den has limited space for new recruits, so eventually you'll either need to remove some, get some killed, or increase your roster capacity in order to recruit more. Another building is the personnel facility. This facility provides an overview of your operator's combat stats, soldier bonds, and the focus tree. The focus tree allows you to spend focus points primarily earned from increasing bonds to upgrade the talents, abilities, and passives of your operator. You can also change most operator specializations to another one that suits your preferred playstyle from this menu at any time. So it's unclear exactly how the game will make you feel committed to choices, or if everything will be freeform. There's also an armory within the den, and it's where you outfit Zero Company with deadly gear to overcome the threats in the field. Weapon modifications can be slotted into a weapon to alter its stats and apply distinct effects. Each weapon has a set number of modification slots, which can be increased throughout the campaign. You can see here that there are slots for barrel, cell, scope, and stock attachments, giving bonuses like extra damage, evasion, critical chances, and more. Mods seem to have rarities too, like this one being superior and another being basic. Every operative comes with a default weapon, but you can change them in the armory. There are 4 weapon types: long arm, repeater, rifle, and pistol, each offering advantages suited to different playstyles. And of course, you can customize your weapon's cosmetic appearance with a variety of blaster models and colors found in the galaxy. We've seen all the weapons used in one form or another. Long arm is your sniper, repeater is your heavy weapon, rifle and pistol are barely self-explanatory. Like mentioned, utilities are equipable items that grant your operators new abilities in combat, such as impact bombs and concussion grenades. Depending on your operator's specialization, they can carry 1 or more utilities. Outside of operations and tactical missions, weapon modifications and utilities can be purchased from the black market in the armory using credits. But many of you have fond memories of building a base in Xcom, so where is that option? We don't know exactly how it presents itself visually, but you can upgrade the den at the upgrade facility. The upgrade facility allows you to bolster Zero Company's effectiveness. Here you can fund improvements to the den's existing infrastructure, such as adding a droid bay that allows you to recruit astromech custom operators, or you can upgrade to purchase roster-wide weapon upgrades that enhance the combat stats of all your operators, or you can upgrade to increase your operator limit. Constructing an upgrade takes at least one cycle and requires an available build slot. Over time, you'll unlock additional build slots, allowing you to construct multiple upgrades at once. So it's unclear if you'll clear rubble and install buildings in slots like in Xcom 2, or simply add buildings or upgrades to existing facilities, but the functionality is still there for those who were worried their macro choices were gone. Another facilities inclusion is one that people may both love and hate: the medbay. The medbay allows operators to recover from injuries sustained during operations and tactical missions. So yes, they can get injured when sent out on those non-combat tactical missions. Standard beds require one cycle to heal, while the back to tank provides instant recovery. Chef's kiss on the thematic insertion there. Healing an injured operator costs credits, so choose when to treat your team wisely. It's also unclear if healing injuries removes those from the 3 total you can sustain on an operator on normal difficulty before their death, or if it simply removes the downsides of an injury only, like the reduced movement range for having a broken leg. Hopefully this becomes clearer once we choose our difficulty levels. Next to the medbay is the memorial, which honors operators who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Visit this facility to reflect on their legacy and review their stats and accomplishments that defined their service to Zero Company. Something I'm sure many hardcore players will visit on their runs to pay respects. I know if I ever stream the game that people in the chat might end up on this wall. The final tab of the personnel facility is where you manage bonds, how much each operator likes or dislikes the rest of your team. Each pair of operators begin with an initial relationship, usually neutral or negative. Completing operations, tactical missions, and calling for backup are some ways to boost bonds, like we explained before, and when a bond increases in level, both operators can cross-train to gain permanent combat stat bonuses. Once a pair reaches the maximum bond level, they can unlock a special cross-training that grants masterful benefits through a passive ability. So I foresee many of you creating a wife, husband, or best droid friend that you'll bring everywhere with your Hawks. At certain points in the story, Hawks will be faced with a dilemma, an important decision to make. Every operator in Zero Company will weigh in with their opinion on how to resolve the issue. How you decide to handle the dilemma may change your bond with an operator. Building strong bonds between operators is key to your success in Star Wars Zero Company, according to the devs, and I can see that coming through in a lot of areas discussed in this video. Finally, your Zero Company will need to get around the galaxy, and that means they need their own starship. This is the Caisson. When designing it, they knew it had to be versatile to accommodate all the variety of missions you can go on, and of course, it needed a pilot. This is Mevo, the droid that will be the ship's pilot. He has a very unique personality for a droid. Also in the latest trailer, General Skywalker was teased. Is Anakin a good guy or a bad guy? To which they answer, you'll have to play to find out. I suspect near the end of the game, Order 66 is carried out and you'll need to deal with the ramifications, which frankly would get me very excited. Which I kind of am already. So what do you think about everything you heard? Are you more or less excited? Let me know below. We don't have long until release. The game is here the 27th of August, but before then, I'll be back with more. So thanks for watching, and until next time, ciao friends.